Hello, I'm Doug DeWitt, Transfer Paper Product Manager here at Condé Systems, welcoming you to our overview on Neenah Laser 1 Opaque material. Neenah Laser 1 Opaque material is a opaque film designed to run through a non-oil color laser printer or color laser copier so that you can generate a bitmap, photographic reproduction, or full bleed graphic onto a bright or dark colored 100% cotton t-shirt. In this video, we'll discuss how the Neenah Laser 1 Opaque differs from other dark garment applications that are on the market. After that, we'll show you how to feed Laser 1 Opaque material through your color laser printer or copier and give you a demonstration through our Laser Imprints Go Uno. Next, we'll show you how you can trim or cut the Laser 1 Opaque material using standard cutting tools or a vinyl or optical cutter. After that, we'll move over to the heat press and give you a demonstration on how to apply Laser 1 Opaque material to your cotton garment, and then we'll summarize the points in this video. So let's go ahead and get started about how Neenah Laser 1 Opaque differs from other printing methods. If you've been decorating garments for a while, you may be familiar with a process called a two-step opaque material. This was a fabric-based opaque material where you had to use a t-shirt transfer plus the fabric material in a two-step process to generate a graphic onto a dark garment. The problem with two-step opaque materials are they create a very heavy hand, not to mention they're very time-consuming and expensive because you're using two different transfers. What makes a one-step transfer unique is that the material feeds directly through your color laser printer or color laser copier. So in essence, it's saving you both time and money by being able to print directly onto the material. Also, with some of the new opaque materials that are on the market, you might be familiar with self-weeding opaque materials. What you got to understand is those materials are really designed for what we call line art, clip art, or vector art graphics. They do not work well with bitmap images or photographic reproductions. What we'll show you today is that Laser 1 Opaque is the perfect material for reproducing those photographic reproductions. If you want more information on self-weeding dark garment transfers, you might want to refer to our video series on Condé TV called Image Clip Laser Dark. But in the meantime, let us show you how to run Laser 1 Opaque material through your color laser printer or copier. Neenah Laser 1 Opaque material comes in two standard sizes: 8.5 inch by 11 inch or letter size, and 11 by 17 inch or tabloid size. When you order this product, you will also need to order what are called silicone sheets. These sheets are used to protect the film in the heat press. Sheets come in a pack of 25, and I recommend one pack of silicone sheets for every 100 sheet pack of Laser 1 Opaque that you order. Now when it comes to feeding the paper through the printer, you want to load Laser 1 Opaque material through your printer's multi-purpose or bypass paper tray. You don't want to run Laser 1 Opaque material through the cassette tray because we want the material to run straight through. When it comes to loading the multi-purpose or bypass tray, consult your owner's manual as to the orientation and whether the paper loads print side up or print side down. If your printer allows you to set the material weight by bond or grams per square meter, you want to set your printer to either 47-pound bond or 178 grams per square meter when you're running Laser 1 Opaque material. If your printer or copier does not have that capability, tell your printer or copier that you're running a heavy stock, thick stock, or cardstock paper. Also remember, we are printing the image right reading when it comes to a single sheet opaque material, so do not mirror or reverse your print. Also, you want to go with your printer's standard printing resolution when printing onto Laser 1 Opaque material. Even if your printer has the ability to increase the resolution, just go with the normal default setting because a little toner goes a long way. Also, because opaque material has a tendency to absorb a lot of heat off the fuser, you don't want to run a high number of prints through your printer or copier at one time. My suggestion is that you only want to run about 5 or 6 copies at one time. Give your printer about a minute for the fuser section to recycle its heat and then run another set. What we want to make sure is that no toner comes off this sheet and contaminates the fuser. Now that we've gone over those guidelines, let's jump to the computer so I can show you how I set up my Laser Imprints Go Uno to run this paper. Here I have my full bleed photo quality graphic that I'll print onto Laser 1 opaque material using my Laser Imprints Go Uno color laser printer. Let's go over the driver settings. I'll go File, Print, make sure my Go Uno is selected, and then I'll click on Preferences to access the driver. You'll notice the 4 tabs in the driver: Layout, Paper Quality, Job Options, and Color. On the Layout tab, we want to make sure we have our orientation selected to either Portrait or Landscape. On the Paper Quality tab, we want to make sure that our paper source is looking in the multi-purpose or bypass paper tray. On the Laser Imprints Go Uno, we want to click on the Advance button to access the PostScript options. Make sure you have your paper size selected to letter or tabloid, depending on if you're printing a letter size sheet or a tabloid sheet. The next thing I like to do is make sure that my media check is turned off. Now under Media Type, we want to click on the pull-down menu and access our list of available papers to print. When it comes to printing Neenah Laser 1 opaque material, make sure you have the option Laser Opaque selected as your paper. Next thing we want to check is make sure that our tray switch is turned off. We're finished with this screen, so I'll click OK to save my changes. Under the Job Option tab, again, we want to make sure that our printer is set for normal default resolution, which in the case of the Go Uno is 600 by 600 dpi. Another thing that we might want to check under the Advanced tab here is we want to make sure that our Mirror Print option is unselected. Remember, when it comes to Laser 1 opaque material, we print right reading, which means we do not mirror or reverse the print. Under the Color tab, we just want to make sure that our color mode is selected to automatic. Once these changes are made, I'll click OK, then click Apply to save my changes, and now I'll send the job to the Laser Imprints Go Uno by clicking the Print button here. When the Laser 1 opaque material comes out of the printer, I like to give the transfer what I call the tissue test. Take a blank tissue and gently rub the surface of the material to see if any toner smudges on the transfer. It's okay if a little bit of loose toner comes off on your tissue. As long as the image doesn't smudge, you're good to go. So now, let's talk about the proper method for cutting and weeding Laser 1 opaque material. One thing we have to understand about Neenah Laser 1 opaque material is, because we are dealing with a white poly-based film, wherever we do not print, the white of the material will show through. What a lot of clients like to do is to trim away this excess material so that all you have is the image on the garment. So let's discuss ways that you can do it. The easiest way to do it is with a sharp pair of scissors or an X-Acto knife to trim away the excess white material. If you want to get more precise, you can use a paper cutter to trim away the excess. But a note about using the paper cutter: you don't want to stack multiple sheets and try to cut them at one time. Also, make sure that your blade is sharp. If you really want to get fancy, you can use an optical or vinyl cutter to trim away the excess material. When it comes to the Laser 1 opaque material and running it through an optical or vinyl cutter, you want to make sure that you have your cutting speed set between 20 to 30 centimeters per second. That translates to about 8 to 12 inches per second. Also, you want to make sure that you're using a standard 45-degree blade and you have your gram force set somewhere between 90 to 120. What you want to make sure is that you cut through the material but not through the backing sheet. Now, once you have your material cut, you want to separate the film from the backing sheet. The easiest way to do it with a solid sheet is tear a small corner of the backing sheet to expose the film. Then grab the film and use your fingernail to wedge in, and then start to separate the film from the backing sheet. Like so. Once you have the film separated from the backing sheet, now we can apply the film to the garment. So let's go over to the heat press and I'll show you how. The first thing we want to do to our garment is pre-press our garment. This will do a few things: drive out any surface moisture and flatten out the area that we're working with so we have a nice smooth surface. It only takes a few seconds. Next, we'll go ahead and take our Laser One Opaque film and position it on the garment where we want it to appear. Make sure you flatten the film out as best you can. Now, we'll take our silicone sheet, our nonstick sheet, cover the exposed film. Next, I'll take an old fabric swatch, in this case a cut-off piece of a t-shirt, and gently lay it over the silicone sheet with the transfer. This does two things. One, it helps to keep that film flat so that it touches at all points on the shirt. Second, if there is any latent moisture in the shirt, in the film, or in the press, it'll be absorbed by the fabric and it won't affect the output. Once we're ready, we can go ahead and swing our heat press over and lock into position to do our transfer. There are two ways that you could press Laser One Opaque material to a shirt. If your shirt is 100% cotton, set your press at 350 degrees Fahrenheit and press for 30 seconds. If your shirt has any polyester content into it, you want to reduce that temperature to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, but increase the time to 2 minutes, because what you want to guard against is a process known as dye migration. For more information on dye migration, visit CondéTV.com and run a search on a video called Dye Migration. The video will explain everything. Once your timer goes off, we'll lift the press. We will gently remove our fabric sheet. And now we want to let the silicone sheet cool over the material before we remove it. The reason is, if we remove the silicone sheet while it's still warm, toner from the opaque material might stick to the silicone and we'd have to get a new sheet of silicone. But if we let the silicone cool down, the silicone sheet should release from the film without picking up any toner, which means we can reuse this silicone sheet on our next Laser One Opaque transfer. Which is why, if you do it a slow, steady process, you can reuse your silicone sheets. So make sure you give the transfer a minute or two to cool down, then remove the silicone sheet. Now that our film is cooled down, let's go ahead and remove the silicone sheet. When it's cooled, it should peel right off. So let's quickly summarize what we've learned today about Neenah Laser One Opaque material. Neenah Laser One Opaque is for non-oil color laser printers and color laser copiers so that you can generate a photographic quality bitmap or full bleed image onto a colored or dark garment 100% cotton t-shirt. What you got to remember about Laser One Opaque material is wherever you do not print, the white of the material will show through, which is why we recommend it for photographic output and not line art, clip art, or vector art. If you need to do that type of printing, you might want to check out Neenah Image Clip Laser Dark. Also remember that when you're printing, do not mirror or reverse your image. Print it right reading. There are many different methods that you could use to cut or trim the material, and remember there are different instructions for whether you're going on to 100% cotton or a cotton polyester blend. If you need more information, don't hesitate to contact one of our account managers directly at 1-800-826-6332, or you can visit our website at www.condé.com. Until then, my name's Doug DeWitt, Transfer Paper Product Manager at Condé Systems. My time is up, and I thank you for yours.